Hello, spa leaders. Kelsey and I are going to get started in just 2 more minutes. Looks like we have more people joining, so hang tight. Let's get everybody comfortable using that chat box. So go ahead and type what spa you are representing. How incredible. We have people from Florida, Philly, Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, Texas, Ohio. Welcome, everyone. I love it.
All right. Well, hello, spa leaders. Welcome to our first managers webinar of 2022. I'm Kelsey Shurik, franchise operations consultant for spas in Portland, Seattle, Dallas, and the Denver regions. I'm joined by Megan Lally, VP of Ops. Hi, Megan.
Hi, I'm here.
Perfect. I know I speak for both of us when we say we are so excited to have everyone together. We know you are all working hard to find solutions to your business needs, some unique needs based on the tough times we are going through, and some needs that are to be expected. So we thought, why not bring everyone together so we can figure out what works best for the spa leaders out there going through the same things.
That's exactly right. When it was time for the ops team to select our next webinar topic, we knew it was important that we identified the right need, which is helping you solve your needs. This webinar is going to feel different than the ones we've held in the past. At this point, we have a huge mix of spa leaders. We have some on the line that are brand new, tuning in for their first time. We have some that have joined us for months, maybe even years. And we want to make sure that we're getting something helpful for all of you. So today's webinar is going to be less philosophical and more practical, tactical. We are going to open with the 7 steps you can take to solve any business need, but then we're going to ask you to name your business needs, and we'll all talk through solutions. Think of this more as a workshop than an actual presentation. So some of you have reached success with others, while others of you are still struggling in that same exact area, and vice versa, depending on the topic. So let's help out one another.
And in some cases, if no one has found a solution quite yet, at least knowing that you're not alone is helpful. It helps to know there's life outside of your 4 walls within your spa, and that we're all doing our best and can lean on one another. So without further ado, let's make more money and have less problems.
Oh, I'm on board for that.
Always. All right, so let's begin by discussing the difference between needs and goals. I'm sure you'd agree the ops team uses the word goals pretty often, but Megan and I made a conscious decision to call this webinar 7 Steps to Identify and Solve Business Needs. Who can tell me the difference between a need and a goal? Anybody, feel free to type in the chat.
Needs versus goals. What do we think? I will not give the answer until I see at least one guess.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. Goals, grow the business, needs, maintain. Okay, yeah, I really like that. So really great points. Honestly, Kelsey and I thought this was a little bit of a trick question. Ultimately, a need shouldn't be much different than a goal, but you're all making really great points. And the way that I would look at it is we have to solve our needs to reach our goals. So I would say some of our people here in the chat really nailed it. The job of a manager is to, of course, drive the business. But I think in reality, we all know we want to do that, but sometimes we can be distracted by all of those needs we have to solve in order to really reach that door and walk through that door and reach those goals, right? So that's kind of why we chose this image here. So our idea here is to try to consciously replace the word goals when we use it, and really replace it with needs, because we want to make sure that we connect with all of you as spa leaders, and that you feel like we really do know what stands in your way and what hurdles you have to overcome. And then it's really not just reaching a certain GMS goal or just reaching a certain conversion rate. A big part of your job as leaders is to identify your needs and solve them so we can reach those goals. So what do you say, Kelsey? Let's walk through those steps.
Absolutely.
Love. Okay.
All right, so we've broken our most common business needs into 5 different categories listed there on the left. So let's take a moment to agree on which category each of these needs belong in. So again, all the participation in the chat is appreciated. Starting with the first bullet point, you are in need of essay coverage for your birthday weekend. What category would we put this need in? Would it fit under data-driven, operational, personal in all caps? Got it.
Everything feels personal, right?
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of personal.
Ding, 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 ding. You're getting it. That
Winner.
one's personal.
All right, so then let's go on to the next one. Less same-day cancellations. So we're trying to lessen the number of same-day cancellations. What category would we put this in?
I think this is a common need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking so. Oh my gosh, they're catching on here, Kelsey.
Mm-hmm. Operational, boom.
Good. Nailing it.
All right, next one. We need our MTs, LEs, and SAs to be working together. What category? Look, they're even getting quicker.
Okay. Gosh, I'm regretting that I don't have a prize at the end of this.
No. Awesome.
Next.
Decreasing the number of MT and LE callouts.
We got it.
And then hitting my quarterly bonus.
Ooh.
Data.
Yeah, that also feels personal.
Yeah.
We're going with data.
Checking my bank account, it feels personal. Yeah. Less phone calls from team members after hours. All right, more personal.
Oh my gosh, I think we're all making a really great point here. This could be quite a few.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. If we think, and I would challenge you to talk through this, and this is exactly why Kelsey and I wanted to start with categories before we really dug into specifics, is really get aligned with the categories. If we think about the need, think about the root cause of this need, right? So you're at home, you're with your family, with your friends, with your kids, and your time with them is being disrupted by a phone call from the business. So what does this feel? Does this feel seasonal? Does this feel data driven, operational? I'm going to say this feels more personal, right? So this is a need of some personal balance between work and life. So, but great. I think we have some great thoughts here. Is that a thing? Oh man, that's too funny. It can
And then, yeah, last but not least, in need of a spa attendant for Q4 gift card traffic.
Yep. Very good. Seasonal. Very good. That's more, temporary. Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so here we have the 7 steps to solving our business needs. So Kelsey and I, before we wanted to dig into specifics, we really thought it'd be good to be able to give you a structured process. And, if you're anything like us, type A, we like to be organized. And we do consider ourselves flexible, but it always has to start with a solid plan, right? So hopefully you feel more empowered to tackle the solving a problem, solving a need and reaching a goal, if you have a structured plan here. So these are the 7 steps we want to take you through before we really dig in. So let's expand on each of them. Step 1 is identify a need. I think we're the best at this step. So someone type in a chat. I do want to use an example. I think that the recommendations here are going to work best with an example. So type in a need, any need that we consider appropriate. We'll take all 7 steps through using this need. So somebody go ahead, identify a need. Why am I not surprised by that one?
Oh, reliable essays.
Reliable. Okay, I'm gonna pick that one. Reliable front desk staff. Okay, so I can definitely see how this goes into several categories, because if we don't have reliable spa associates, we are not creating that work-life balance. You're covering the front desk instead of being able to do higher level things. So definitely this is a really, really good goal or a need. Oops, there I go again, replacing needs with goals. So Okay, so our need is more reliable spa associates. So tell me, which
Mhm.
category do we feel like this fits in? Let's all agree on one category, though this can bleed into others. We think that this might be, we need reliable spa associates. So think about it. We don't want just anybody to cover the hours. They need to be reliable. This feels, gonna say this feels operational to me. Yep. Okay, Danielle agrees.
Mhm.
Operational. Very good. Excellent. So the idea here is for us to reflect on other needs that we've satisfied in that same category. What have we done to solve them? So essentially, if you can create a pattern of being able to solve a need in that same category, then you can really move forward with more confidence. In the past, you've known what has worked when it comes to an operational need. You know what hasn't worked and what lessons you learned along the way. So essentially, for an example like this, you may need to speak with the business owner. Let's agree on what we can add to our job postings to
Mhm.
make it clearer and identify a better candidate. Maybe it has to do with perfecting our interviewing skills,
Mhm.
right? Those types of things. Maybe we need to invite them, after we like that phone interview, an in-person interview, invite them to maybe work an hour or two and observe the front desk. Maybe some introducing personality tests, right? So we have these ideas here where we're thinking, okay, who do we need to go to and what have we done in other categories to solve this, right? Who was involved? What worked? What didn't, right? So that pattern speed up the process eventually. They're going to help you reach a solution efficiently and with less and less hiccups or misunderstandings. Really, honestly, I do want to kind of give a little bit of a pep talk here. I think everybody on the line needs to realize, if you view your role this way, where it's a work in progress and you're identifying patterns and identifying who you want to involve, you can be more forgiving to yourself when you make a few mistakes here and there. Everything's a learning process. Even when you haven't solved the need, you learn why and you apply that lesson going forward. So the role of a leader requires grace and humility. I really don't want you to forget that.
Absolutely. I feel like I have to relearn that lesson often, Megan. Okay, so now that we have a need, the category it belongs in, and we know from satisfying needs, and we know what to do from satisfying needs in that same category, the second step is to determine everything that stands in our way from satisfying this need. So what obstacles do we have in place from finding reliable spa associates?
Yeah, let's go ahead and type in the chat. So let's keep going through this exercise here.
Mhm.
Maybe it is a few things I mentioned, like the job ad, compensation, absolutely. Job ad, compensation, the interview process. I know myself, I never felt 100% when it came to interviewing,
Mm.
particularly for the spa associate position. I'll tell you, during my time, I was a spa manager for Hidden Stone for years, and I never felt like I got that 100% right. So kind of what obstacles stand in our way by identifying that person and keeping them engaged. And, I don't know if any of you have felt like you fell in love with somebody over the interview process, you hired them, and that person that you met in the interview kind of never really showed up to work, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Maybe they physically did, but you kind of wondered where that person went when it was time to get to work.
Okay, we have a few more: being overwhelmed with the sales
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
So with that example in mind, are these obstacles something that are permanent or are they temporary? That's going to be the next question that we're going to ask ourselves. So I think, if we're talking through this a little bit, the object of maybe being overwhelmed by sales, the objection, if we take that in mind, I think that's something that's temporary, right? That can be temporary in the beginning while they're training and they're learning the role. That may not be something necessarily that's permanent once they get through that first onboarding phase, right? So for those struggling with this need, or even those that have solved it, do you or did you feel like you have the resources to overcome this need? So keep in mind that energy is absolutely a resource. Maybe you have what you need, but you don't feel like it because you're tired or overwhelmed. So how many of you feel like this is the missing resource?
Yep. So take through that third up. We got a hand raised. Thanks for being honest here. Yeah. So
Appreciate
taking
that.
through that third tip, do we have the resources to overcome this obstacle? And we have to get creative. I know we were talking about compensation and the competition we have out there. And we're also mentioning some obstacles like them being overwhelmed by the sales. Maybe this is the first sales position and it's a little bit more scary than they ever expected, right? Or it's more to put together when it comes to the point of sales system that they expected, and having a be able to do the point of sale system while conversing with the client. So it could be overwhelming. Do we feel like we have resources to overcome this? That's the first question, because we really can't move on to step 3 if we don't feel like we have the tools. Okay. So let's think through this. This is more personal answers, right? And honestly, I think this could present an opportunity where we may have to put our heads together with the business owner and really find out what other people in Hand and Stone, this is an incredible franchise because we communicate and share best practices with one another. We never want to get stuck in a need, right? We only want to move forward towards solutions and kind of identify who we need to connect with to overcome some of these obstacles. So awesome. Great share. So let's go to step 3. So to me, this is an important step. This is a really, really important step. It's the gut check. So in this case, I don't think that this is, really something that we have to change our minds on. We do absolutely need reliable spot associates to take our business forward. But in some cases, when you take a step back and you sleep on it, you determine, maybe this isn't the right goal. Right. So I'm going to use a specific example here where if we have the wrong goal, it could actually bring about bigger business problems. So for example, let's say we want to limit the number of same-day client cancellations. If we go too far with this and we enforce a strict policy, this could mean people come into the spa when they're sick. And to me, that leads to a much bigger problem because they could get the staff sick. That feels like a bigger problem than one client canceling. Now, doesn't it? Can we all agree where we may have been as spa leaders in a situation where they're maybe blinded by our frustrations of having to deal with something and having to deal with something more often than we used to in the past, right? So if we're not careful and we don't take step 3 and do that gut check, we could put policies in place that could really upset the staff or really upset the clients and ultimately present more problems for you. Does this make sense? And you don't have to share the specifics, but has anyone kind of maybe in their earlier days as a leader been a bit impulsive by changing policies or rules and ended up kind of humbly learning that lesson that, this wasn't really the right goal. I wasn't going big picture enough here. Yeah. Thank you for being honest. We've got to put our heads together here and understand that, we're in a space where we can be vulnerable with fellow leaders. Normally we have to, we're the ones at the top in our spas and we have to be strong and confident and certain, but not in this space, right? So we can definitely be honest. You choose your battles. Not everything should become a policy. Absolutely. And that's something I say, leaders that are in their first 6 months, I'd say, they tend to reevaluate too many policies and procedures that are in place that have worked when one client complains or one employee complains. You always want to make sure your policies and procedures are speaking to the majority, right? So I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but that's what we mean by having the wrong goal. We definitely want to discourage a same-day cancellation, but this would be a good example of making sure we don't go too far with a bigger problem on our hands. But last but not least, that gut check, think to yourself, is it reasonable to expect this problem to not exist? In my early days of spa managing, I had unrealistic expectations. I mistook parts of the job as needs I had to permanently solve For example, a service provider that performs the wrong service, or a member that's furious with that final charge when they do want to cancel their membership, it's unreasonable to expect that this never happens. So, what is important is to make sure that I'm handling it properly when something does go wrong, or to limit the amount of time something goes wrong. But step three's gut check really helps you discern if this is a problem you can actually solve altogether, or if this is ultimately a part of being a spa manager, right? So, you're ultimately empowered to handle the problems. Those problems will come to you. So, can anybody relate to maybe having a few unrealistic goals at certain times, and realizing that we just have to chip away at the right problems, and be reasonable with what ends up having to come our way? Oh, I love this. I've been a manager for 2.5 years. I can say finally, I've learned over the last year to walk away, take a breath. Most of the time it can wait. Absolutely. I have to share with you,
Mhm.
Amy, I've similar feeling. And I say just recently, if I'm not absolutely sure I can solve a problem, I'm comfortable with waiting. I'm comfortable with sleeping on it and really feeling certain how to proceed, because I've learned the hard way that I could do more damage if I try to solve something quickly and get that off my, list of tasks, than if I were to just really sleep on it and think on it and be certain. So thank you for sharing, Amy. That's really nice for those people that haven't been a manager quite as long as you. My owner put in a leadership course this year, and it has helped so much. Oh my gosh, can you
That's
please
awesome.
share more details about that in that chat? I think it's so important that we as leaders continue to develop our skills even outside of Hand and Stone. I think hopefully you appreciate us offering webinars like this where we can come together and chat, but there's so much opportunity out there in the world of leadership development. So I'd love to hear more about that. Awesome. Okay, let's go to step 4, Kelsey.
All right. This one's probably my favorite, because if I had had this advice when I was a spa manager, I just really wish I knew that I didn't have to come up with every step of the plan by myself. So I like to think of step 4, the advisory committee, as phone a friend. So your advisory committee can be members of the team. We suggest that they are from more than one department, and a mix of new team members, veteran ones. The more diversity you can have in this, the better. At times, it can also include clients. I know, stick with me, as we said, clients.
Yes, we
But
did.
I would encourage that you use this method sparingly, and only with trusted clients you know well, and without unloading all of the inner workings of the business, of course. There's absolutely nothing wrong, though, with asking a loyal member for their input on a new policy to determine how it'd be viewed by them. So just like a member of the team appreciates you considering their viewpoint, so do our customers, as long as it's requested professionally and appropriately.
I'll tell you, this step is one I still take to this day, and it's really, really, really saved me from some huge blunders. And it's also made me more forgivable when I do make a mistake and roll out something without thinking of all angles and such, because the team appreciates that I do solicit their feedback. Having
Mhm.
committees that help perfect a plan creates buy-in and a sense of community within the business. It's a we're all in this together type feel. It doesn't all fall on you. And I think it's really important during these stressful times, that you feel like this isn't all on your back, and that you have an entire team that can help you navigate through all of this.
Mhm. And I know personally for me, when I was in the spa, just knowing that I had other leaders or, advisory committee members within my
Yeah.
spa, people I could rely on, it really helped shift my mindset within the role as well.
Yeah, I have a advisory committee within the ops team,
Mhm.
and it's purposely not any of my team leaders. I have enough leader meetings. I know their input. I know we're somewhat aligned in most things, but I really think it's important that the people that are out in the field, spreading that message, focusing on what really matters, and really affecting change, have a say in some things. I'll tell you, I have a leader meeting right after this, and I just had my advisory meeting last Friday. I cannot wait to bring to my leaders some of the great ideas that they came up with. My advisory committee came up with last Friday that is going to be game changers for this team. So I really can't tell you how liberating it's been that I don't feel like I have to guess how I can improve the the efficiency and the work life of the members of my team, and that I could just ask them for their input, and they have such great ideas. It really feels good. And I actually changed the members of this committee after last year because I really wanted to shake things up and bring in some fresh ideas here. So, one of them was promoted to a team leader. So I do still have their input. I'm just so jazzed about this concept because it really feels like it doesn't all fall on you. During evaluations, I always ask this: is there any feedback you want to share with me about how I'm doing? Our leads, any suggestions that we might consider? Oh my gosh, Amy, what a gem. And I just saw you said that you're a member of Eileen Riley's team. I can't be surprised by that. She's such an incredible business owner. Oh, I just love this. Yes. Oh, keep sharing. I love this. Very good. Okay, let's go to step 5.
Okay, so step 5 can really derail the plan if you aren't careful. Let's just give that as a warning. So you really need to take the time to consider who needs to know every detail of the potential solution. Who just needs to know the overall mission, but not get bogged down by every step, and who should really just kind of stay out of it, right? So as much as we're about transparency and communication, sometimes oversharing can lead to misunderstandings and requests you don't have the means to grant. So the next method is how you choose to share the plan. This is where you need to be reminded to never put a task before people. We all have so much on our plate, and it's only natural to want to select the fastest and easiest way to share a new plan. But is that going to make the people impacted feel confused or uncomfortable? A lot of times people need to be talked through a change. So should this be delivered just one-on-one, or maybe in a group or a team meeting? Should you outline your plan in Slack or Asana and then offer for any in-person conversations? Will a change reach others before you have a chance to explain why or share your intentions? Been there, that's not fun. And perhaps you should let certain people know first, like your assistants or your leads, or we all know that veteran MT that might be sour if you don't get them on board first. Yep. So there's a lot that's involved in this step. So reference the slide whenever you're communicating a change to your team or your clients. Even if things don't go perfectly, your intentions to do things as clearly and respectfully as possible will really go a long way.
I gotta tell you, something just popped in my head that may not be in others. I'm thinking back to what one of our corporate locations did when we did a price increase. So they actually shared that there was an upcoming price increase with their members 2 months before the increase and a month before they actually sent the email and letters out. And, it's interesting to think of that, because I think there's a lot of people on the line that have gone through price increases or, maybe plan a future one, maybe both, right? We've done a couple. And, the thought of that made me cringe at first. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're going to put your spa associates in a position where people could get really upset. And the spa leader, this was, I think, 2 years back now, the spa leader said, honestly, they're the ones that are going to get the phone calls anyway. And I feel like our spa associates should be empowered in having that conversation, right? And I want them to be able to problem solve. And it's just like every other customer satisfaction issue that may make it to their plate. And I was really motivated by the way the spa manager was viewing their sales team at the front. Just they're capable, and I know they are. And the members actually appreciated the conversation and the heads up. And I think that this particular group of members felt more of a connection to the people at the front than the business as a whole. And giving them that heads up, I think they really appreciated. They felt that was respectful. So I'll tell you, something like that is an outside of the box kind of thing, but sharing that plan, it was that line you said, Kelsey, I'm trying to think back, is if you share it in a fast way, is anyone going to feel confused or uncomfortable? They might want to have to talk through that change. And that was exactly what they did here. So even something like that's a very black and white update, you really have to think about who's being affected and are they want to have a conversation? So I thought that was worth sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are almost there. We are at step 6, flex the plan. This is tough. Can I hear something from all my type A's out there where you really put a lot of work into figuring out a plan and darn it, you do not want to change it. So this is requiring some real ego checking here. Is it the plan that's wrong? Or was it not executed correctly? So we have to stop and think here. From where I stand, if a plan works in most of our spas and
Mhm.
one is struggling with it, I lean in to evaluate the execution. Since there are different people at every spa, employees are different, clients are different, it is possible that a plan that works in one spa really doesn't work in another. But in most cases, there's just a breakdown in that execution. So make sure you are using your ops support to help with this. So you aren't back at square one, rethinking an entire new plan, but you haven't identified properly what the breakdown really is. So, going back to our tips here, you must be present during the execution of the plan to be able to properly assess the details of your corrective measure. Take notes, lean on your advisory committee for feedback. Remember, it's not just you. Be willing to flex. This is important. Be willing to flex when it isn't working with the underlying goal of being proud of your outcome versus proud of the plan. This speaks to me
Mhm.
here. You have to be proud of the outcome that the need has been solved versus the plan you worked so hard to create. I have to do this to myself because I get really connected to some of my ideas. My team members can say, I really want to push for this great idea that I get excited about, but I have to be committed to the solution, right? I have to be committed to results. Putting emphasis on achieving the right results can really help you save a lot of time. Even if you do have to rewrite the plan a few times, you're actually going to reach that goal faster, right? So it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think we've always heard that phrase, and I don't think anyone can relate more than our spa leaders, right?
Megan, that also made me think too, a lot of the owners that I support are multi-unit owners. And this just made me think of during some of our FQE discussions with, sister spas, where maybe one plan worked, they came together as a team, right? They had a plan and it worked really well in one location. And then the other location, not as receptive, or maybe not the right
Mhm.
thing, and they flexed it, but at the end of the day both those spas got the same outcome, right? That organization had the same outcome, like to decrease suspendeds or whatever that looked like.
That's great.
So that just kind of had a light bulb moment there
It's
too, where
really that art of being a spa leader. It's a
yeah.
combination of being flexible and customizing to the people, right? There's people on both sides, but then there's also that structure and well thought out, organized plan. So it almost feels like you have to be two people at once. Actually,
Mhm.
you do. You do have to be two people at once. See here, it always seems easier to stick to a process because it's what we've always done. But as needs change or things stop working, you need to be open to pivoting. This is something our team has tried to learn over the years. Oh my gosh, Rihanna, I tell you what, I
Yeah.
wish I could screenshot this. Kelsey, I need you to screenshot this. There's
Okay.
no wiser words here. And Rihanna, I know you're a veteran leader, and that is so tough. But the people that have survived, especially everything that's changed, what felt like
Mhm.
overnight when this pandemic hit, the people that have survived and overcome and flourished were the people that realized, I have to stop and say, am I doing this just because we've always done it this way? Or am I doing this because it's the right thing to do? I say that to
Mhm.
myself very often before I take that first step. Is this the right thing to do, or am I doing it because it's just what we've always done?
Mhm.
Yep. Such great advice, Rihanna. Thank you. Look where we are, step
We
7.
made it. All right. And just like that, we're at step 7 and your business need has been met. Done. Voila. So make sure though that you take a moment to celebrate your success. Seriously, there's always another problem anxiously awaiting for you to identify, but you will run out of energy if you don't celebrate your wins. So let's all take a moment to reflect on the business needs that presented themselves the last year. So if you can, go ahead and type in the chat. You guys have been great. And why don't you share a need that you've satisfied within your spa? Something we can all celebrate.
This is so important. We have to stop and say, okay, there's a lot ahead of us, a lot of problems we need to solve, but recognize that you've already made it through so much. So what have we done? The need to be heard. Yes. We went from four
Yes,
MPs for 6 months to 8.
it's
Oh, that's
great.
incredible. And I bet there were times throughout that process where you felt like this, gosh, is this possible? Can we get there? And you have. We said this a lot during those months that we were closed and we were receiving word that we were able to reopen our businesses in phases. We can rebuild. We did this once before and we can do it again because we're more experienced, more knowledgeable, right? We could do this and we did. Felt defeated at times. Go ahead and share. There's more people on the line. I want to know, what's a problem you solved? The cleaning list. We got sheets delivered twice per week, not once. Kept the therapist happy with small requests. It's so important. Exactly. That's that's an operational need.
Made our skin tougher.
We've made our skin tougher. Yes. That's personal. That's great. Very important. Our skin's tougher, but also hydrated.
With SPF.
Yeah. Have any of us out there rebuilt our member base or maybe our active percentage? That was in the 70s for some, and some of our spas out there are in the 90s. That's incredible. I know I'm going data. That's the world I live in. Seasonal. I know we thought of the idea of having that spa attendant during seasonal times. I think some people really had an awesome Q4 gift card season as a result.
Yes.
Active base of 98%. Oh, shout out to Taylor and Tiffany. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Not everyone's taking our opportunity to celebrate. Got suspendeds down and frozens and added the pop-up for new credit cards. Oh, that's a big task. So the team does not forget. My suspends were high. I set a small goal, celebrated with Sydney yesterday. Oh, awesome. You have 14 on the suspension list. We're getting real jealous of you, Amy. I know there's a couple of spa owners on the line too. I would love to hear about any type of celebration you have because you're, got the weight of the world on you.
Yes.
Okay, well, this was therapeutic. It's just so important to recognize how far you've come as a leader and what your team has accomplished and where your business stands compared to where it once was. I have to say, this is a recommendation I make very often. I teach the manager training class during new franchisee training. And I learned all of this was things I've learned from doing it the wrong way first. And I pass this along so that all of you benefit. Here's some advice. When you leave the spa after a long shift, many surprises, you have to drive away and think, what is something I did that was positive for a member of my team? And what is something I did today that was positive for a client? And if you drive away from your shift, not thinking about all the things you thought you were going to tackle that you didn't get to, or all the big surprises or the disappointments with people calling out or such, and what feels like is a mountain you have to climb, you have to drive away from the end of the shift and recognize something that you did positive for a member of your team and something you did positive for a client. It could be the simplest exchange, catching up with a member you haven't seen in months, connecting with a member of your team in the break room that you haven't seen in a while, or, getting that opportunity to really thank them for coming into work, or giving them a compliment that a client passed along, all these small little things. And I think it's really, really healthy for you to drive away and think about those things, because that's going to give you that energy to get back to work the next day. You are making a difference, and it's important you recognize that. Oh, I love this idea. We also have a motivation jar that we leave notes for each other and encouragement and positivity.
So cool.
Oh, that's great. Oh, there's Ashley featured up her in our spa spotlight this week. Check that out on Facebook if you haven't. Love that, Ashley. Thank you for the support. Okay. And last but not least here on this slide, our last recommendation, take note of what worked. Really take notes. I'm bad at documenting, but take notes so that you can apply these lessons, what worked, what didn't, who was on your advisory committee. When you have a business need in the same category going forward, you could be halfway through these steps from the moment you identify that, because you find patterns. That is really where I felt like I came into my own when it came to operational support. When I was working with a new franchisee that reminded me of another franchisee, and that, their methods of learning and their communication style and their personality reminded me of other people, I felt more confident. I felt like I could do a better job supporting them because I identified patterns. If you can work off of patterns as a leader, you are going to really hit your stride. Trust me when I say so. Okay, so now that we have a deeper understanding of each step of this process, this is where I really want to engage the group. I'd love to talk through some of the most common needs, very specific, right? Kelsey and I have prepared a list of possible needs in each of these 5 categories. So please, we're going to launch a poll, and in each category, vote on your greatest need. And what we'll do is we'll talk through potential solutions that'll help satisfy that need. So hopefully you're really going to walk away with some very specific tactical solutions to some of those pressing issues you have.
This is probably my favorite part of the webinar, because where one of us is struggling, I'm sure another is succeeding. We're all here together, so why not lean to the left?
Yep. So this is a phrase we use often on the ops team. I'm passing it forward so you can adopt it in your spas. We don't want our ops consultants to only go to the leaders when they need help or advice. We want them to lean on their peers as well. That can be more helpful and comfortable in many cases, actually. In other words, instead of going up to the leadership, you go to the left of peers. That's what we mean by leaning to the left. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch our polls and talk through our greatest needs. Right here, let's see. Seasonal. Launch our poll. So does everybody see this on their side? I think so. Okay, very good. Thank you. We got a confirmation in the chat. Okay, so we're choosing my front desk is forgetting to offer gift cards at checkout. We aren't converting gift card redeemers at a high rate. Clients want to book couples massages for, well, Valentine's Day is over, so.
But they did want to.
But they did. Bet you don't have that need anymore. Whoops. We've been working on this for a while. Okay. So we already had some people say none of these apply. So we're going to be leaning on you for solutions. We tricked you. Let's give it a couple more seconds and then I'm going to launch our results. Let's try to get it above 50% participation. I've got goals. I always have goals. 51. Yes. 51% participated. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and launch our results. So end poll, share results. So this is a close one by one. By one, we aren't converting gift card redeemers at a high rate. This is common, so I'm glad we're talking about this. So this definitely is seasonal. We feel this the most in January. We also feel this in August now because of our Christmas and July offers, right? And we're feeling it right now, right after Valentine's Day. Yep. So we aren't converting gift card redeemers at a high rate. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and let's talk through this. Okay, so before we ask managers that have satisfied this need, right? And I want to skip to that. I want us to take ourselves through step 1 through 3 for a minute. Either think to yourself or share in the chat. Let me remind you of those first few steps. Step 1 is to reflect. What have we done in the past to satisfy a need in the same category? Who was involved? What worked and what didn't? So I'm thinking this has to do with selling a particular audience. So let's talk through. I definitely think we need some of our spa associates on that committee to solve through here. Soliciting their opinion and their feedback in this. I mean, this would be a great example of a committee. Instead of us just solving this issue, giving them more training, giving them more direction, maybe even coming up with a special for this client that's going to cost the business owner money, right? We don't have to jump to that. Let's get an advisory committee and find out from them, what is this particular audience saying, right? That's stopping this from being a sale. Step 2, current obstacles. Let's think about this. Okay. So this is bringing me back, right? So this, almost every single spa visit we do, there's somebody that talks about that gift card redeemer that doesn't want to join.
I just talked about it yesterday.
Oh, funny. Step 3, is this the right goal? Can anyone think of another possibly bigger problem that could come from this? I think this is the right goal. I don't think this leads to a bigger problem. This feels like a mindset though for me. Okay, now I want to hear from everyone on the line that has been able to convert this as a higher group, at a higher rate, excuse me. Everyone in the group, have we been able to solve this need? Anyone have any advice for this particular need, converting this group at a higher rate? I have to say, actually, Kelsey, why don't you take me through what you said yesterday? They're sick of my voice now.
Sure. One thing we talked about was, well, I agree with you that it's a mindset, right? So they were talking about how in filling out their prospect tracker, they had, some of their newer spa associates who were just feeling like, oh, they're coming in on a gift card. Why even pitch? Or, that mindset of, just that they aren't interested already. So we were talking about reasons that they would be interested. And then we were doing our pitch practice with the objection of coming in on a gift card, right? So talking about how they can come in with their next service at our member rate. It's a month-to-month agreement, but really just kind of talking about the mindset prior and having those shift huddles, especially with newer spa associates, prior to that checkout process. And then being able to provide feedback if they do, of course, sign up for their membership, then celebrating that win, right? Making a big deal of it. And if they don't, just having that coaching opportunity of what worked, what didn't, and reflecting on it.
I think, first of all, that's a really, really great advice Amy's offering here. Getting the essays comfortable. I listen, I go out front, complete the sale, and explain the savings that they'll get. I did one last week where the client was going to save $80 by signing up. That's in the case where you take a non-member gift card and you drop it down to member price. Is that right, Amy? The way I worded it, she understood it and said, okay, I will play this with my spa associates. So here's the thing is, we talked through this. I was on site last week with one of our great ops consultants, Kit. We're in Flanders, New Jersey. I don't know if anybody from Flanders is on the line, but what an incredible front desk group. Oh my gosh, I loved working with them. And, I actually made a point that it feels like it goes in the opposite direction, but bear with me. I have an interesting approach. I said, listen, the goal is 30%, right? So if you break that down, that means 7 out of 10 people are going to say no. And kind of jumping on that whole theory that I have where I think it's almost in our heads, the gift card redeemers aren't going to convert. And it's not even our own experience. It's something that other people said and we hear it and people are worried about it. I see it on the Facebook group, even before the holiday is over. Anyone have any advice on how we can, increase conversion rate here with these people that are going to redeem it? Like it's even in our heads as leaders. But the idea here is I share that goal and say less people are going to join than are. And my job is to take this conversation all the way through and make sure that this person that has said no is really not qualified for this program. I don't care what your method of payment is. If this person went in and is coming out feeling better, enjoying the experience they just had with that amazing massage therapist or esthetician, this person needs to give themselves permission to do this more often instead of waiting for that next gift card. And that's my job, is to make sure they know every benefit they have available to them as a potential member. And if this person is not truly qualified to join, I know that they're one of the 7 out of 10. I know they're about 70%. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be sure this person isn't one of those 3 and I'm just not trying hard enough. If you give your spa associates permission to view it that way, that they end up getting a no more than a yes, I think it kind of gets them to shake off this mindset and just kind of like, I told them, I was like, I love detective shows. I love Criminal Minds. I try to profile everybody. Right? Kelsey, I got you profiled, believe it or not. Matthew's on the line, profiled. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm trying to do in every conversation. I'm trying to influence. So let me profile what's standing in your way, what's mindset, what's real, and how do we break down those barriers. So hopefully this helps solve this a little bit. Does anybody use this approach, that kind of 30%, 70% approach in their spa? Type in the chat. Anyone going to? Anyone hate it? Molly says yes. Awesome. Great. Okay. So let's go to our next one. We got another poll. Let me launch it. I am loving this poll thing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we get to vote on our greatest need operationally. So Megan's going to launch our poll. Okay, so identifying the need operational, go ahead and choose your greatest operational need to decrease the number of service provider call out, more spa associate coverage, so you're not stuck at the front desk. We need to discourage clients who cancel the same day, or none of these apply to me.
I am really, and I'm not making a joke, I'm really hoping the people that say none of these apply can offer some advice to the others. I really mean that, because I'm so excited about this format for this type of a leaders webinar, because you're learning from one another. Kelsey and I are just bringing you together. So please, please, please share how you've been able to solve these needs, or what you have in place where you've avoided this need. That'd be even cooler. Okay. I'll wait for a couple more answers. It's looking like it's between, we need more essay coverage, so I'm not stuck at the front desk. And then the other leader is, we need to decrease the number of service provider call outs. Which one's gonna take first place? Okay, let's go ahead and publish our results. Boom.
All right, we need to decrease the number of service provider call outs. Okay, I'm not surprised. I've heard that during my visits. Okay, so needing to decrease the number of service provider callouts, similar to what we were talking about earlier. We want to go through those first 3 steps again, right? So step 1, reflect on what you have done in the past to satisfy a need in the same category. I don't know if anybody has, I'm sure they have made attempts in the past, maybe even thinking back to pre-COVID days, things that worked to lessen this issue. Feel free to type in the chat.
Yeah, and to me, I would say, it's not just creating a policy and enforcing it, right? Because that could rub people the wrong way, and that kind of falls in that gut check where it's the wrong goal. I don't want someone coming in sick.
I'm thinking about some of the types of conversations I used to have with service providers, putting a policy in place.
Yeah, who can be a part of an advisory committee with this? What's the right way to communicate a new policy when we do figure something out? We don't want to upset the service providers and think that we're, a dictator, or we're, not reasonable. There's more of them than there are of us, right? Oh, this is interesting. We've had several clients upset that we charge them half if they cancel, but we don't give them half a credit if our therapist is sick. Tricky, tricky. That's an example of that gut check, having the wrong goal and leading to more problems there.
And then also assessing too what our current obstacles are. So are these obstacles temporary or permanent? And do we have the resources to overcome these?
Oh, this is specific. We've had people call out and then go to the circus, literally the circus. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so let's focus on solutions here. Let's put our heads together. There are a couple of people that did not select this particular operational need, a couple of people that said this didn't apply to them. Who has some advice? I'm sick of my own voice. I bet someone out there has advice. You could raise your hand. I'd love to unmute you if there was anything you put in place. I know our spa spotlight with Ashley had a point system. I believe attendance was on there. I'm a big proponent for spotlighting good behavior instead of shaming and punishing bad behavior. So maybe there's a point system and someone has 0 points.
I have another fellow that just rolled out a point system too, so we'll see if they make their way to the spa spotlight soon.
Yeah. And honestly, if we have somebody that calls out regularly, I've done this before, and I hope the franchisees on the line don't get upset with me when I say this, but I've changed people's schedule to reduce their hours. Yeah. If it's causing more of a business problem to have to constantly cover this person's shift and disappoint the clients, you share a very valid issue where clients are disappointed when you have to cancel their appointment, and you might end up having to give them some form of credit in the future. That's, this client makes a good point. That costs the business more than reducing someone's hours, even though we're all very hard up for available service hours, not when it costs us.
I think that also, Megan, to your point too, and again, hopefully no one gets upset, but I think it's also the stepping back and gut checking and being realistic, right? So sure, you can say that you have a full-time MT, but when you pull their schedule for 2 months and they're really averaging about 3 days a week that they're actually making it in, are they full-time, right? What are they really fulfilling? Yeah. Let's give them grace and put them on for those 3 days that they can consistently maintain.
And sometimes, it feels like it's obvious that this person keeps calling out, but some of them aren't even aware of that pattern. So, exactly. Thank you, yeah. Tammy. Tammy is saying, if there's multiple call outs on the same shift, then obviously there's a schedule change. And, honestly, sometimes we feel like we're managing their lives, not just their schedule, mm-hmm. and having to point that out because some people don't even realize that. Okay, very good. I think the recommendations have stopped coming in, but I think we have a couple of ideas here. I know some spas have adjusted commission to be based off of attendance and availability. I know that there's bonus concepts out there, incentives. I'm definitely not encouraging people to spend more money than the business has, but I think there's ways to run contests and bonuses. It doesn't have to actually be money. It could be Dermalogica and Clarity swag, right? Or complimentary service every now and then. There's ways to incentivize. It doesn't have to cost the business hundreds and thousands of dollars that we don't have, but really just rewarding those that do right by the business and helping those that maybe aren't managing their schedule properly or staying healthy. Really encouraging that reliability that our clients can depend on.
We're at the circus.
We're at the circus. I like this. We're going to ask service providers to provide another day in lieu of the sick day, so that, if they're calling out, can we add another day so that when we, I love that. When we call your clients, we could tell them, unfortunately, you're not feeling well today, but you've opened up your book for this day. Can we move you to that day? That's, to me, offering, bad news, but immediately offering a positive solution is definitely the way to win. Paid time off for employees that have reliable attendance. I think that's so important. Very good. Okay, let's go to data. Launching a poll. Really liking these polls, Kelsey.
Me too.
Okay, so our options are we need to increase our number of facial appointments. We need our MTs to offer in-room upgrades. We need to increase our total active members. Yeah, these are all data goals. Oh, it's looking neck and neck.
No, this kills me waiting for it.
Okay. I'm going to be conscious of time. I know we're losing a couple people because we're on the hour. So let's go ahead and end this poll. We had 50% answers, so I'm satisfied. I got the data goal I needed. Share results. This was
Yes.
close. This was close, but we need to increase our number of facial appointments. I love this because this solves quite a few problems if we can increase our facial appointments. Let's talk through this. What have some of the people on the line? Let's go straight to recommendations. What have some people on the line done lately to encourage facial appointments? I'll tell you, I'm super jazzed about our Mother's Day promotion, which offers a facial gift card at a discounted price. I think that's a great way to drive our clients towards facials. I think that's like a very outside of the box type idea. We've never done this before, where we're incentivizing a facial gift card. So that's pretty cool.
Posting available appointments. Yes. Important.
That's a big one. That is such a big one. I see that from some spas, but not many. I'm on a lot of email distribution lists, but I think a lot of people, since it's hard to get an appointment, especially our members, they think there's no way there's an available facial this week, right? I have to wait weeks and weeks for my massages or weeks and weeks for my facials. I know I go to Tammy's spa actually, and I booked 2 months ahead for my favorite esthetician, and it was worth it. I had to change my habit, but I had to book ahead. But I would never, ever, ever call Tammy's spa, knowing how busy she is, thinking there's any chance I could get a facial this week. But the truth is that we do have last minute availability here and there. We should absolutely, that's a great recommendation, Amy. We should absolutely start taking a moment out of our schedule, say on a Tuesday, and sending an email out that shows the available facial appointments you have that week.
Yes, post your SDs on your Facebook page with a pic and bio. Absolutely. And take that one step further, Megan, what you guys were just talking about too. Post your availability on your Facebook page as well, right? Yes. Send an email and post it on your Facebook. Plans change throughout the day. So if one of your members has a sitter and her original plans fall through, but she's got an hour or two to herself, heck, she's going to come in.
I'm a huge fan, you're giving me another idea here. I'm a huge fan of, there's an email campaign in Zenoti that allows you to spotlight a new esthetician to the team. You could share a bit about them, what product line they love, what service they love to deliver. And you can offer a discount to get their books full, and introducing a new esthetician to the team. I mean, that really builds their books up right away. Look for people with multiple packages coming in for massages. Yep, let them know. Ooh, Tammy, I love it. We just got a cancellation for a facial. Would you be interested? Oh.
Yes, taking on to what Tammy said, one of my assistant managers that I worked with in the past was really, really great, had an amazing habit of, when checking our clients in, offering a facial right away, right? Hey, I see you're in for a massage. We just had a cancellation. Would you like to make it a spa day? And she was so consistent with that. And the number of members that said yes always, I don't know, I seem to surprise me.
Here's something that just popped in my head. We did this years ago, and I don't think we've recommended this in a while, Kelsey. When you have to turn someone away for a massage, which definitely happens on the regular, right?
Yes.
Now, right? We used to have and I don't know if we had the perfect scripting. So maybe our spa managers out there can give this a try and report back to us. But, we're booked for massages, but I have to tell you, I was amazed by how relaxing our facial experience is. it's a great way to take care of your skin, get on board with that health and wellness, and really take care of yourself. Can I get you all set for that? So essentially recommending that facial appointment in lieu of not being able to accommodate that massage. But there's a really polished way to just weigh in on the kind of like, yes, it's skincare goals. Yes, we're very focused on that, but it's also so relaxing. I'll be honest, it took me a really long time to try a facial. Once Hand and Stone started offering it, we actually haven't offered it from the very beginning. And I was amazed by how relaxing it was. There's massage a part of every step if you think about it. So yeah, how many people out there recommend a facial instead of a massage when we turn people away from massage? I wonder, we do as leaders, but do all of our spa associates? I bet they don't.
No. And to tag on to that, Megan, too, a question I've asked spa managers during, our recent visits or support calls is, do you know what your spa associates are saying when they describe a facial, right? Do we all have the same messaging and the same verbiage, just like you were talking about? Is it polished? Does it sound relaxing? Is it something that someone would want to try?
Yeah, I hear people are saying, yes, we offer it all the time. Do spa associates say, we don't have any massages, but would you like a facial? I want us to go further. Let's describe how relaxing that facial is and really sell it. Awesome. Great. Very good. Back facials too. That's a great suggestion. Awesome. Okay, let's go team building.
All right, team building. What's your greatest need?
Let's see here. Launch it.
Okay, so choose your greatest team building need. Everybody. Option 1, the team feels burnt out. The team does not respect their department leaders. We need the front and the back of the house to get along better. Or none of these apply to me.
I saw such a variety of selections at first. I wonder if this is our next managers webinar. To really get honest about how the team feels being burnt out, not respecting the leaders, the front of the house getting along with the back of the house. Oh, we have a tie right now. Oh no, we need more participation.
Someone.
Break the tie. Someone. Someone did it. Someone did it. We're not 50% though, so I can't move on. We are now. Okay. And in the poll, launching results. The team feels burnt out. I had a feeling this was going to win.
Me too.
How are you addressing this when in reality, you as leaders may feel burnt out too? How are you taking care of the team that is here, right? We talk about recruiting and needing more people. How do we make sure we take care of the team we do have? Go ahead and type in the chat. I know this was quite a variety of answers, so some people don't have this issue. So there's some things you could do as team building exercises that don't require everybody to get together at the same time. I think if you're anything like me, when I think team building, I think of like a specific exercise or event or party you have to host, but you could do potlucks. You could do coffee exchanges. Kelsey and I were talking about crystal exchanges earlier today. I write little notes and leave them for the staff sometimes, motivational cards to let them know I appreciate them. Marlo actually shared a similar idea yesterday on our managers training class. She says that when she was a spa manager, she always said, "Thank you for coming to work today." Just acknowledging that they had a choice in reality, right? I hope none of us think that way. We're committed and dedicated to the business. We come in and we show up. But they had a choice today. And thank you for choosing right. Thank you for choosing the clients and your coworkers in the business. You came into work today.
I'll never forget a conversation I had with a massage therapist that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. We were reunited. And he was telling me how much he was happy to be at the spa. He's fully booked. And he really, really loved that this particular ownership group provided snacks. So Megan, even what you're saying of like a team potluck, right? Like,
Yeah.
food is a love language for a lot of people.
And let's get specific with burnout. With burnout, that feels like we're doing too much. So if there's a way, oh, Tommy's saying it. If there's a way you can chip in, or somebody from the front can chip in and help with a task, this kind of bleeds into what I'm going to prepare for my leaders this afternoon. Propose for my advisory committee last Friday. There was a few steps that we've been asking our ops team to do on a regular basis that we talked about, like maybe we can make this step optional, where it's not necessary unless that person feels like they're benefiting from completing this task. Some things like, a Monday status report that we ask everybody to submit. Maybe we could trim that down, or make optional, or maybe kind of reduce to being more about availability versus tasks. And, just taking a step that we do regularly, and changing it so that they don't get burnt out with something that we don't have to do, right? So Tommy's proposing, she says she jumps in the back and she flips rooms sometimes.
Love that.
Bringing snacks, coffee with a note, highlighting our wins. We try to get a spa associate into a service on a quieter day. That's so nice. That's really nice. And I think all of us could name a spa associate that has really come to your rescue personally, covered a shift that would otherwise be you, right? Think about somebody on your team. Everybody go ahead and shout them out. I know they're not on the line, but is there somebody on your front desk team that you depend on, or a service provider that has really picked up shifts so that you didn't have to disappoint clients? I think every single manager on the line can name somebody on their team that they really appreciate that has come to your rescue.
We got Amber, Molly's
Amber
assistant
is my
manager.
saving grace. We got to do something special for them. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Maybe it is a service. Maybe it's some swag from Dermalogica. We're always getting GWPs. We don't, maybe we could do something special with that person. When we're short staffed, Zay worked weekends, picked up Fridays and Saturdays, for months. Let's do something for them. Those are the people that we may not realize are getting burnt out. We've got to thank them.
Kelly P.
My right hand. Judy and April. We do one-on-one girls' day just to connect outside of work. Not doing manager things. I like that. Lindsay, our new shift supervisor. She's 6 months new, but so accommodating. This is great. Oh, I loved that. That was really nice. And that's the thing is with burnout, it's not the people that are complaining and huffing and puffing necessarily. It's the people that aren't, but still feel it. So let's do something to acknowledge that. Awesome. Okay, one more. Personal. Let's launch this poll. I don't know why we're ending on this one, Kelsey. What were you thinking? Keep things positive.
Felt right.
Your greatest personal need. The team needs me when I'm off. I don't feel like I'm making enough progress in my role. My work schedule is constantly changing.
Or none of these apply to me.
Yeah, really making me happy when it's none.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. I bet that wasn't always that way, and they worked hard to solve these needs. So that's great. Okay. I'm not at 50%. I need some more answers. I need 4 more answers. 3 more answers. They're anonymous, so even my ops team can answer. They're probably scared. Oh, there's some answers.
There's the ops team.
I just need 2 more. One more. I gotta reach my goal. One more, one more, one more. Got it. Okay, sharing those results. What do we have here? The team always needs me when I am off. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that forever.
No.
I've got a recommendation, but I don't want to be the first one. I'd love to hear from some people on the line. How have you satisfied this need? Who has boundaries out there? Who is proud of the boundaries they've set and the way that they're able to keep that business functioning even when you're not there? I know there's a couple of veterans out there struggled with this, but overcame.
Yes, utilize your leads. Go to first then if you can't. Solve it, come to me. Absolutely. That was such a relief once I started utilizing my leads as exactly that, leaders, right?
Yep.
Have an extension
Imagine
of a
that.
leadership team. Weird.
Took a long time. Yep, for sure.
Same, Amy. Same.
People want to feel empowered, right? But there should be some go-to. I wonder if it makes sense to have like the shift go-to in the break room. Like almost like a sign, I'm thinking. Like a quick, like this shift go-to. Because there's somebody in that building that can be the go-to. So it's really more about like, I'm going to automatically go to my boss because I don't know that there's somebody else that is capable of helping me right now. So it's more of the knowledge of who you can go to. So if you do something in the break room as the shift go-to, genius.
Yesterday when I was on site, I saw a communication chart in the break room. It was great. If you had this concern, go to this person. If you needed this is your go-to.
My assistant and I have rules with each other, only contact by call if it's 911 or truly can't figure something out. And then I see Amber says, I lift my leaders up and empower them, but they still don't feel confident to solve problems. Maybe that problem doesn't have to be solved in that exact moment. Does this have to be solved? Because I really do think that the leaders can solve emergencies, right? So then I ask, is this an actual emergency? Or, because if they're not able to feel confident to solve it, that means they're concerned they're going to get in trouble with their decision. So can this wait until you're back to the spa the next day? I think it can. Role play with your leads. And you should keep track of these things. You could feel like you can make it out of this, even if it's temporary, even if you have a front desk. And let's be honest, some of us have a front desk, the entire front desk is brand new, and you want them to reach out to you because it's going to be more catastrophic if they don't. Yes. But if you record, and let's, honestly, feel like this is only temporary and you could get out of this. If you record what those common questions are and have a way to communicate that so the entire team learns from that person's specific question, then at least you feel like okay, I'm building a less dependent group, right? We're in a phase of everybody's new. It's phase 1. I really like to assess those hard times and really be honest, like, okay, we're in phase 1. We're in this with our ops team right now. We've got a lot of new people. We're hiring for more new people. And it's just, okay, we're in a phase right now of rebuilding. But we have incredible veteran members of our team too, and they're helping us rebuild. And a phase feels temporary, right? So what are we doing to learn to, try to avoid this turnover in the future and, get everybody on board at a more efficient rate here? I have all 6 months of new spa associates at once in our location, so it's hard not to be available because I want them to know I have their back. My new shift provider will lead the same way. So with more experience, we have more go-to people. I trust her to take care of things and follow up. That's awesome, Dawn. What a great accomplishment. I think we've all been there, no matter how long we've been in our role. We've been back to phase 1 when it comes to staffing. So I think if we identify that shift leader in the in the back and communicate that so everybody knows who their go-to is when you're not there. And if we take notes on common questions so that the rest of the team can learn, and then if we assess this as a phase and know that we're going to get our way out of it, that's awesome. Okay, good. I loved this format. I do want to just very quickly remind people that there are a few more steps. Kelsey, you want to take them through this?
Sure. So the following steps, we walked through kind of the first 3 with all those different scenarios in our polls. So thank you for your participation. We also have the advisory committee, sharing the plan, flexing the plan, and satisfying the need. So I want to thank you all for all of the ideas you shared. We asked for a lot of participation and you had some really fantastic ideas, and we knew that you would come through sharing with things that you've solved, or just even brainstorming with each other other things that we haven't been able to solve. So we really have a great community of spa leaders, don't we, Megan?
I tell you, I'm so motivated and empowered by all of them. I just love being in a position where I can bring all of you together and you could help one another and learn from each other's experience. This was great. I'm wishing all of you the best of luck to continue to conquer every need. Please celebrate all of the needs you have solved. You're incredible leaders. We are so fortunate to have you representing our brand. If you enjoyed this format versus some of the formats we've used in the past, where it's more instructional, and our advice, if you enjoyed speaking with one another and sharing, please contact me. Please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat here. And then if anyone's watching this recording, you can reach out to me through Facebook. My email is mlally@handstone.com if you want to email me. I love this format. But I want to make sure we're delivering on what you need, right? So if this format helped you and you enjoyed it, we will keep this up. We'll keep this up and get everybody together and identify needs this way and talk through solutions, because you have an entire group of fellow spa leaders that are rooting for you. Okay, and then Amy's sharing in the chat too. Kelsey, if you could just take a quick screenshot of this. Yep. Anyone that wanted that coaching information. That's great. Amy, it's definitely paid off. What a great investment from the spa owner, Eileen, because you're a real gem. Everybody here, everyone that shared and participated and was honest and vulnerable, thank you so much. This wouldn't have worked. We took a risk, hoping we were going to get participation. All right, you're all magnificent. Take care, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Kelsey. You're great. You're a winner.